All right, good morning to all of you who have been following these Facebook Live. I'm doing something a little bit different today because I need to show you things in this church. I love the architecture here, but the church, like most evangelical churches, has two of the most important symbols of Christianity. And symbolism is the power of religion. All studies show that propositional truth is one thing, but symbolic truth is the real bread and butter of a church. So in this church, the first thing you will see as you look up there is this huge hanging cross, kind of suspended in midair. Studies have shown that this is the most powerful religious symbol that has ever appeared in human history. Compare this with religious symbols throughout history of other religions. But this church also has, as you will see here, a baptistry. Now there's no water here today because there's no baptism. I understand next week they will have baptism here, so there will be water there. Now, why are these two such important symbols to Christianity? Well, of course, the cross symbolizes the sacrifice of Jesus. And because of that sacrifice, you and I have life. And that symbol is a constant reminder of that. Not just the pain and suffering of Jesus personally, but that his pain and suffering is substitutionary. Because of me, as Isaiah says, by his wounds we are healed, by his stripes we are put back in the correct place. Whereas the baptistry symbolizes our commitment to this God. And it's good in this church that they have both symbols, the cross at the top there, and then the baptistry at the bottom here. One a symbol of God's commitment to us, the other a symbol of our commitment to God. Remember what Paul says about baptism is like a new birth. It's like a child being born all over again. And one of the things about human babies is that they are completely dependent on their parents. So spiritually, we are completely dependent on God as well. And so just because we are born again here in the baptistry does not mean that we can disconnect from that cross that is above, because that is the source of our new birth. That is the source of our power. Now it's amazing that the gospel writers, Jesus himself, the Apostle Paul, they did not leave us a lot of symbols, which is unusual compared to most other religions and the history of those religions. There's a third symbol in Christianity, but we don't have evidence of that here because Adventist churches only celebrate communion once in a while, not every single week. But these two are here. So even when there's no baptism going on, when there's no water in the baptistry, anybody who comes to this church, as you enter the door, you can see these two symbols. They're right in front of you. God's commitment to us, our commitment to him. And so everything else that may happen in this church, right now members have gone for their study groups, but all these pews would be filled with people. And it was a few minutes ago before the worship got over. All of those members are sitting there and they are watching these two symbols. Whether they actively recognize and accept their importance in their own mind, in their own heart, is immaterial. What is material is that the symbols are there. And you know the power of these symbols. What the Star of David means to Judaism, what the crescent moon means to Islam, what the cross means to Christianity. And because of these symbols, we have a unique story in Christian history during the Crusades. There was this young teenage king in Jerusalem, Christian king by the name of Baldwin, who happened to also be a leper, who led a battle against the great Muslim general from Egypt called Saladin. He actually won the first battle against Saladin because of that symbol. He charged with his knights into the battle, even though they were outnumbered like 3 or 4 to 1, carrying that cross. And when the Christian knights saw that cross, they felt so empowered that they rode forward and charged through the Muslim armies, causing them to disperse and led to a great victory. Now, the results were temporary, but the victory happened because his knights thought that God was with them. And in the Bible, in every story of war, God is in the war in one way or another. whether he's directing the war or fighting the war or giving strength to his people to do so. And so symbols are important. For David, it might have been his sling. For somebody else, it might be the book, the Bible. But all Christians know these two symbols. The baptistry, our relationship to God. The cross, God's relationship to us. And so the next time you go to church and you see one of these symbols or both or other symbols, take time to appreciate the symbols and recognize their value and their importance to our faith. I wish you all a good Sabbath and a good week ahead. God bless.